Let me tell you a story. Not just any story. This one involves chlorine, HOA tyranny, one angry Karen, and a plot twist nobody saw coming. It started on a quiet Tuesday morning in the middle of summer. The birds were chirping, the air was warm, and my pool, my beautiful backyard oasis, was finally finished. A 6-month DIY project, blood, sweat, and late-night YouTube tutorials. I had built it with my bare hands. Every tile, every pump, every LED light, I installed with pride. Wasn't rich. I wasn't a contractor. I was just a regular guy who wanted a slice of paradise in his backyard. And for exactly 2 days, it was paradise. Till she showed up, Karen. Yes, that Karen. Short blonde hair, oversized sunglasses, and an HOA handbook thicker than a phone book. She lived 3 houses down, but somehow she had the nose of a bloodhound for anything that didn't follow regulation. I was grilling by the pool when I saw her the first time, arms crossed, staring at my yard from the sidewalk like I'd built a nightclub instead of a pool. She didn't wave. She didn't smile. She took a photo. Then she walked away. The next morning, a bright orange notice of violation was taped to my front door. Unauthorized construction. Pool not approved by HOA committee. Immediate correction required. Correction? What kind of correction? This wasn't a pothole. This was my dream. I called the HOA office, thinking this had to be a mistake. The woman on the phone didn't sound surprised. She said, "We've received several complaints. Specifically, one regarding noise, fence height, and unauthorized use of backyard structures." Noise? It's a pool, not a metallic concert. Fence height? It hadn't changed. Unauthorized use? This was my property, but none of that mattered. Because in the HOA's eyes, one complaint was all it took. Karen had made sure that complaint was loud, detailed, and frequent. By Friday, I'd received a $500 fine and a letter stating that if I didn't fill in the pool or apply for retroactive approval within 14 days, legal action could be taken. I sat by the water that night, feet dipped in the shallow end, staring at the blue lights dancing across the surface, wondering, how is this real? I didn't break any city laws. I pulled all the required permits from the county. But the HOA? They operated on a different level, or level where common sense didn't matter. Only rules. And Karen was the self-appointed enforcer. My friends told me to lawyer up. My neighbor said, just pay the fine and stay quiet, man. It's not worth it. But me. No, I wasn't going to let some clipboard-wielding neighborhood dictator take away what I built. I started digging. Not physically, mean legally. I reviewed my HOA bylaws, the ones they give you in tiny font that nobody ever reads. And deep within those pages, buried under all the jargon, I found something beautiful. Clause 18.7, Community Enrichment. Exception. Stated that any structure, including water-based recreational installations, that served a community purpose or generated a benefit for neighborhood residents could qualify for exemption from standard HOA restrictions. Upon proper petition and board hearing, a loophole. A glorious, golden loophole. That night, an idea was born. If Karen wanted to escalate things, fine, then I'd go nuclear. The next day, I printed flyers, designed a Facebook group, made a Craigslist. Post free community pool day, open to all neighbors. Food, games, music, and more. Brought to you by your neighbor at 1428 Sycamore Drive. Even called a local ice cream truck and paid them to park out front for 2 hours. Saturday at noon, it began. They came in droves, parents with kids in swimsuits, couples with coolers, teens with floaties, even a few elderly folks who just wanted to soak their feet in the shallow end and enjoy the sun. My backyard transformed from unauthorized construction into a community hotspot. Lawn chairs lined the yard. A portable speaker played soft beach tunes. Someone brought a volleyball net and set it across the deep end. Kids were laughing. Adults were relaxing. Even the grumpy neighbor from across the street cracked a smile, and T-H-E-N, she came, Karen, standing at the edge of my driveway, stunned. Eyes wide, mouth slightly open. Holding her phone like a weapon, she marched toward me. "What is this?" she demanded. I smiled. "Community pool day. You're welcome to join." "This is a violation of HOA code, actually," I interrupted, pulling out a laminated copy of Clause 18.7. "It's well within the guidelines. This is a neighborhood enrichment event. I've got 43 signatures from residents supporting it." She stared at the paper like it was written in another language. Her hands shook. Mouth opened and closed again. And then she turned around and stormed off. Everyone watched her leave. And then they cheered. But I knew it wasn't over. Not yet. I had one goal now. Turn this backyard pool into the most beloved place in the neighborhood. A place to loved. Too valuable. Too united. For even Karen to touch. The war had started. But the battle? The battle was mine to win. The next Monday morning, my doorbell rang. It wasn't a neighbor. It wasn't a friend. It was a certified mail carrier envelope in hand. It's a neutral expression like they already knew bad news was inside. Notice of escalated HOA action. Karen had struck again. According to the document, I was being summoned to appear before the HOA board, not in 2 weeks, not in a month, in 48 hours. The complaint? Misuse of private property for public assembly, hosting an unauthorized public event, noise disturbance, liability risk, endangerment of neighborhood integrity. Endangerment? I hosted a pool party, not a punk rock riot, I won't lie. There was a moment just when where I considered folding. The thought of lawyers, fines, and endless meetings made my stomach churn. But then I looked out my window. A hand-painted sign hung on my gate. I hadn't put it there. It read, "Thank you for letting us use the pool from the Martinez kids." Next to it was a plastic bucket full of popsicles, probably dropped off by another family in gratitude. And just like that, I remembered. This wasn't just about me anymore. Karen wanted control. But I had something stronger at community. So I showed up at the hearing. It's not alone. 3 parents came with me. 2 elderly residents, even that quiet teenager from next door, the one who barely spoke. He came too, just to say the pool made summer fun again. The bored 5 gray-haired men in polo shirts looked uncomfortable. They were expecting a scuffle. Instead, they got testimonials. Evidence, smiles. I laid it out clean. All HOA rules. Followed under Clause 18.7, all attendees were residents. Of the neighborhood, no city laws were broken, liability waivers were signed, pool hours enforced, strictly no one stayed past 7 p.m., no money changed hands. Purely voluntary community gathering. Then Karen stood up, hair tighter than usual, lips pursed, holding a stack of papers like she was preparing to recite the Constitution. "This," she began, "is a disgrace. We are not a public park. This man is turning our neighborhood into a circus. It lowers property value, increases noise, and encourages outsiders." Outsiders. That one word turned the room cold. A woman on the board leaned forward. "Ma'am, every person who attended lives here. No rules were broken." Karen didn't blink. "He's exploiting a loophole." "Yes," I said calmly, "and I'd do it again. Because your rules don't protect this neighborhood, they suffocate it." Gasps, raised eyebrows, but nobody interrupted me. I built something. I built it with my hands. I didn't ask for HOA approval because I didn't know I needed it. But once I found out, I didn't hide. I invited everyone in. I shared it. I made it ours. You can find me. You can threaten me. But you won't stop me from making this place better. The board deliberated. 10 minutes of whispered arguments, and finally, they spoke. The board finds that the homeowner has not violated Clause 18.7. Further action will not be taken at this time. Karen slammed her papers on the table and stormed out. I stood, thanked the board, shook hands, and walked outside to a quiet line of neighbors who had waited just to hear the verdict. One of them smiled. You turned your backyard into the best part of this neighborhood, and that's when it clicked. This wasn't revenge anymore. This was a movement. I started organizing weekly community Sundays. Every Sunday from noon to 5, my backyard became everyone's backyard. We had potlucks, story time for the kids, movie nights with a projector and floating pool chairs. Someone even brought a popcorn machine. Local musicians offered to perform for free, and someone donated beanbags and a giant. Connect 4, what started as a backyard pool, had become something much bigger. A symbol, a rebellion against petty rules. A place where neighbors stopped being strangers. A place where laughter was louder than complaints. And every Sunday, Karen watched. Blinds slightly open. It's not moving, just ... watching. She didn't show her face again, but her presence always there. Like a shadow, I expected retaliation, expected escalation. But what came next was worse and stranger. 2 weeks later, I received an anonymous email. No subject line. No message body. Just a single attachment. A blurry photo of someone diving into the pool at night, and below it, a single sentence. Hope your insurance covers accidents. It wasn't a threat. Someone Karen, or someone she. Convince was trying to frame me, to make it look like I was running an unsafe, unregulated pool party late at night. It's a violation that could finally get me shut down for good. But this time, I was ready. Security cameras, waivers, strict hours. I had records, logs, testimonies. My lawyer, now fully on board, sent a formal cease and desist to the anonymous email address. 2 days later, I got a full confession from the actual person in the photo-A neighborhood teen named Caleb. Turns out, Karen had bribed him with $50 to jump the fence and take a photo. The HOA board was furious. And for the first time in its history, they turned on one of their own. Karen was fined, stripped of her volunteer compliance patrol duties, and unofficially blacklisted from further meetings. Justice. This was vindication, but I wasn't celebrating yet, because the best was still to come. It's funny, looking back, it started with a simple dream to enjoy a pool in my own backyard, not to start a revolution, not to change the neighborhood, and certainly not to become public enemy number 1. They're hero number 1. But that's exactly what happened. After Karen was stripped of her HOA authority, the neighborhood breathed lighter. It was like someone had opened a window and let the air in. People who had never spoken to each other were now friends. People who used to walk past each other without a glance now shared stories over poolside lemonade. But I wasn't finished, because now I had something even more powerful than a pool. I had momentum. So I built a small donation box at the gate with a note. If you love this place, help keep it alive. And they did. In weeks, I had enough to hire a local landscaper to build a stone patio around the pool. One of the neighbors donated a pergola they were getting rid of. Another painted a mural on my backyard wall. Blue skies, sunshine, kids playing in the water. It looked like joy. The Martinez family started organizing weekly swim lessons for the neighborhood kids. Retired lifeguard down the block offered to supervise. The Facebook group grew. The vibe changed. What was once seen as rebellion had become tradition. And yet, through it all, Karen's blinds never moved. Not once. But I could feel her eyes. Always. Then came Labor Day. We planned our biggest event yet, the first annual Sycamore Summer Bash. Bounce house out front, barbecue grill stations, local food trucks parked outside, a band playing live acoustic sets, pool games, water balloons, even a raffle for charity. Everyone came. I mean everyone. Residents, their friends, grandparents, cousins, families, that had moved away but still had friends in the neighborhood. At the peak of the event, someone tapped me on the shoulder. I turned around. It was Karen's husband. I'd seen him in passing. A quiet man, tired eyes, always walking their little terrier, always nodding politely. This time, he wasn't polite. He was regretful. He cleared his throat. "Can I talk to you?" I led him away from the noise. He looked down, then back up. "Just wanted to say, I'm sorry for everything my wife did. She was trying to control something because she had no control over anything else." I didn't know what to say. "She's not well," he continued. "But even she watches." "You out the window every Sunday?" "I think part of her knows she was wrong." I nodded slowly. He handed me a small envelope. Inside was a note, handwritten, shaky. "You still broke the rules, but you made the neighborhood better. Just don't let it fall apart. Kano, apology." But also not the kind of letter Karen would have written before. Maybe that was the closest she could get, and that was enough for me. Today. It's been 11 months since the day she first filed that complaint. The pool still sparkles. The pergola still stands. The Sunday gatherings are bigger than ever. We installed solar-powered lights around the yard, added benches under the mural. One guy brought a projector screen, so now we do monthly movie nights. Someone else added a mini library box on the fence, and just last week the HOA. Yes, that same HOA approved a new community proposal to replicate our backyard model in unused HOA common space, complete with a second community pool and recreation area. They even asked me to help design it, from unauthorized construction to blueprint for the future. And I said yes. Not for revenge, not for pride, but because I now understand something Karen never did. Power doesn't come from control. It comes from connection. She thought rules kept a neighborhood together, but it was laughter, kindness, shared stories, a plate of barbecue, a cold drink under the sun. This isn't just my pool anymore, it's ours. Built with frustration, fought with fire, it's transformed with love. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Sometimes the people trying hardest to shut you down are the very reason you rise. So thank you, Karen. Thank you for the complaint. Because without it, none of this would have ever happened.